Hi Aries, welcome to your December Astro-Tarotscope with me, Raphael from Radiant Reality. It's an absolute pleasure to have you. Thank you so much for being here. Thank you so much for joining me. Quick note, remember these readings are for your sun, moon and ascendant sign, but if you're only going to watch one, make sure it's for your ascendant sign. It's going to be the most accurate for you, all right? So apologies that they're so late. I just wanted to make sure I could get all of the year ahead stuff out for you. And before we start, as always, I would like to bless my decks of cards with all forms of love, light, peace, prosperity and abundance. And I pray that the messages that come through are ultimately clear and concise. They help you in your path to your highest vibrational good. So, as you can see, I've got a new toy. Boys and their toys, right? I was so excited to get hold of this just because obviously with everything that I'm doing with the Astro Tarot now, it's really nice to have like this visual aid to the whole thing. You know, just to give it a bit more substance and not have like a million pictures popping up on the screen. All right, so the first transit that we're going to look at for you over the course of December of 2023. Can you believe the year is over already? Like, I feel like I blinked and it just kind of disappeared. I don't know if it's just me. So on the 3rd of December, Venus, the lady of love and pleasure and romance and also harmony and diplomacy and, you know, Venus rules luxury and talents and skills, but she's over there in the space of Libra, so right there in your opposite sign, and Pluto is in the sign of Capricorn again once more. It's now finally going direct, moving towards that point where it's going to go into the sign of Aquarius on 21st of January. Before we start, as always, I would like to bless my decks of cards with all forms of love, light, peace, prosperity and abundance. And I pray that the messages that come through are ultimately clear and concise. They help you on your path to your highest vibrational good. So now basically Venus coming into a square with Pluto. So Pluto for you is in the 10th house, right? Because it's in the sign of Capricorn. That's your 10th house, especially if this is your ascendant sign. This could be, a square it's an energy of tension, right? So this could be a little bit more intense than you like your intensity. And, obviously this is, in the space of your relationships, your partnerships, your significant other. So this in general actually could create like a power struggle, right? So this could be within a work-based relationship. If you're partnered, this could be with your significant other. There's a big disagreement here about finances or something in terms of the career, right? It could be as well all about who has the power. And there's, just seeing this because of, obviously Venus rules your 2nd house of money as well as your 7th house. So there is a part of me that wonders here. And what came to mind when I was looking at this for you guys was whoever's got the gold makes the rules, right? So just keep that in mind. Now, Venus is in the stronger position because she's in her own sign. And she is in what we call the superior position. So she's sending her rays to Pluto, but they are in a square still. This could show up with a partner, with a boss, maybe some other significant relationship in your life. So there is that, right? So for this, you have the 7 of Pentacles, the Knight of Swords, and the Knight of Wands. So if you've been with me long enough, you know that 2 knights represents intimacy, right? Now, the fact that you've got these is, for me, it's quite interesting. So those 2 knights represents intimacy. We're talking about relationships here. So even for those of you that are single, this could show up as a dynamic tension within this. For some of you, you might notice that there is like a chemistry or a tension of some sort between you and somebody that you work with. You've got this with the 7 of Pentacles. So one way that I also see this showing up is something that you've worked for, maybe put a lot of time, effort and energy into. Now you could be kind of expecting to see the results and then it's like somebody stood in your way. Especially with the Knight of Swords, I gotta say this does suggest that maybe this could turn into a clash of words in some way. And because it's 2 knights, and those 2 knights are literally facing each other, there is a possibility here that you decide to walk, right? It's like, you know what, no problem, I'm not valued here, so let me find something or someone else. All right, so that's those. I'm going to pop those there. The next transit that I want to look at for you is dun, dun, dun. Venus coming into the sign of Scorpio, right? So this is a big deal for a lot of reasons. One, because it comes into the 8th house. So Venus is coming into the sign of her fall, right? Or detriment at least. Venus, and the reason being is because Venus naturally rules Taurus, right? So it's across the sky from where it lives. It's in the the other sign to its other home sign of Libra. When Venus comes into Scorpio, she gains a lot of powerful support at this time because she comes into connection with Saturn, who is over there in Pisces, right? So it's offering a trine energy. See how they're the same color? This is one of the reasons I'm so excited to have this. It's just really cool. I'm geeking out about it, but whatever. So what this kind of suggests to me is, while she does come into a space that she's not necessarily comfortable with, she gains a steadying influence from that Saturn, which is now newly direct at this point, and also is finally at 1 degree. So it's finally tracking forwards and is going to cover new ground again, or cover the same ground that it's, come back on through the retrograde. Whatever happens the day before this, when Venus is squaring Pluto, be very careful not to allow it to get too blown out of proportion, because the chances are if you say something at that time, it's going to be a lot harder to smooth over at this time, right? But it possibly can be. Now, Scorpio in your 8th house, right? The 8th house, it's a deep and powerful space with a deep and powerful sign. Now, what this does speak to for me, it can bring like a soothing or cleansing or healing balm to this, right? So it can also heighten your sexual prowess, as if you needed any help in that department, dear Aries. It can also bring healing, right? So if you've had any problems, challenges, or issues with or around sex or sensuality, or even in a relationship, this can go a long way to helping fix or smooth that over. The 8th is also other people's money, other people's finances, and larger sums of money. So Venus coming into this space is an attractant. It smooths things over, it makes things easy. So if you're planning to get a mortgage, or you're going for a bank loan, or if you're applying for something like that, this could actually go a long way to really helping you. And in the trine to Saturn, it's got a strength there. It's got a support network that comes into this transit. So I'm absolutely here for that, because the way that the transit starts out is quite blessed. Okay. It could also be that there are debts repaid. If you've got somebody that owes you money, it could come back now. It could also be that somebody forgives a debt of, for you, not a guarantee, but for some of you, it's definitely possible. And because it's a trine from that 12th house, right, which Pisces for you is the 12th house, what this suggests is, let's put the sun here so that we're talking about you, dear Aries. What this suggests is that you're, although it's from your ascendant, but you get my drift. All right, I'm just showing off now. I'm really proud of my little astro wheel. All right, because it's coming from the 12th house, this could be for deeds that you've already put out into the world, right? So some kind of blessing that comes back to you for good deeds. For this, you've got the Queen of Cups. So a water sign woman, Pisces, Cancer, or Scorpio could play a part in this. You've got this with the Justice card. And then you've got the Knight of Pentacles. Whoever she is, whatever this thing is that's being blocked by a boss or a manager, or maybe you've had an issue with a colleague, etc., a water sign woman could go a long way to helping you or assisting you at this time. Interestingly enough, because we're talking about Venus, which rules women, we've got the Justice card, which is actually Venus ruled card. With the Knight of Pentacles. So this could have a lot to do with your longer term finances and larger sums of money. And it could have a lot to do with a contract of some sort that you are hoping or desiring to have. So I love that. All right. So the next transit that we're going to look at for you is Mercury, the Lord of haste, speed, and all of those good things, is going to go retrograde in the sign of Capricorn, which for you is your 10th house again of career, but it's going to come back into the 9th house of Sagittarius, right? So that Mercury retrograde starts on the 14th of December, right at the top of your chart. It's the final Mercury retrograde of the year, and you know it's going to take us right through to the end of the year, just to the very beginning of 2024. So you know, it finishes its retrograde on like the early hours of the 2nd of January. So next year, if you haven't seen your year ahead readings, go and check them out. The life path videos are up there and out there. For your viewing pleasure, you can check them out. If you want to get your year ahead Astro-Tarotscopes, those are in the link in the description box. You can get them for $7.99 a piece, or you can get the bundle for $49.99, which is, if I don't say so myself, an absolute bargain. And if you haven't heard about it, you must have been living under a rock, because I've been banging on about it for weeks now. The New Year, New Frequency. This is a short, sharp, focused sun sign based energy work. It's literally like you can do this in 3 or 4 days if you really hammer through it. You know, maybe a bit more if you really take your time with it. But if you've done energy work sessions with me, if you've ever wanted to do energy work with me but you couldn't afford the personal one-on-one, then this is for you, right? I don't even have to be there. I give you everything that you need in it, and trust me, I have to say I'm super proud of this, and I'm already having clients email me, message me, check out the YouTube community tab or any of my socials, and they'll tell you they're already getting great results from it in the shifts that are taking place. So I'm very, very happy, very, very humbled. All right. So Mercury going retrograde in the sign of Capricorn for you, the 10th house, right? It comes back into that 9th house, which is Sagittarius, which is also a fellow fire sign. So it means it's likely to reactivate something for you in a positive light, because it's offering you a trine energy. So I really like that. It might not be much more than fun or engagement, but it will definitely be welcome. Mercury is definitely asking you to revise your career at this moment, and you're learning, you know, maybe even deciding that actually, you know what, I want to put the finishing touches on a project that I've been studying. I want to put the finishing you know, touches, should I say, on a product I've created, or maybe even travel plans, right? And I will say, now that you know that Mercury is going retrograde on the 14th, check all of your travel plans before that, all right? And then that way you kind of get the jump on it. For this, you've got the 9 of Swords with the Strength card and the 4 of Pentacles. So for a lot of you, it looks like your mind is going to be quite focused on the finances or the monetary aspect of these things. So what you are sort of being invited to consider here is that sometimes your mind will convince you out of taking some kind of brave or bold action. And the Mercury retrograde, it's not trying to convince you not to go for that bigger goal when it comes to your career. It's trying to get you to work out why you haven't gone for it up until now, or what it is that's stopping you from stretching yourself to step into that new thing. The Strength card with the 4 of Pentacles, that's about your physical body, right? So for a lot of you, you might be very focused on your physical health and vitality at this time. And for some of you, I touch wood, I hope I'm wrong, but this looks like maybe some kind of quick weight gain that is kind of maybe freaking you out a little bit. All right, so finally, as if that wasn't enough, we've got Mercury, which will be retrograde, will come into a conjunction with Mars, and both of those are going to square Neptune in Pisces, right? So this is a pretty big deal because it's, you know, I have to say this one, Mars is obviously you, right? Mars is your ruling planet. Now, coming into a conjunction with Mercury and then squaring Neptune over in Pisces, it's likely to be a time of miscommunication, right? Especially one that possibly and potentially turns explosive. So just be careful. The chances are that there's a misunderstanding of some sort. And this is because obviously Mars is you. Maybe you're not hearing something or seeing something very clearly. That's Neptune. You know, it's got like a foggy sort of confused / deceptive energy about it. And it sees you rethinking some kind of plan, potentially a travel plan. It could be a clash over a belief of some sort, because the 9th house and the 12th house are both very spiritual places in the chart. You know, they say religion and politics are 2 things you should never discuss over alcohol or whatever the case might be. Watch out for this, right? Just because this might actually be where maybe somebody tries to get you to force you to show your hand in some way. Just because of the energies that are present, it does make me wonder watch out for this as well, because it could potentially be very emotional, and it could also feel very personal. And because Neptune's involved, whatever the case might be, this could also lead to tears, right? Because Neptune is water, it's the oceans, it's the seas. So whatever this is could, could cause a lot of fears, a lot of tears. And then the ninth house. So interestingly enough, the ninth house represents grandparents. So if you have grandparents or you've had things around them, this could be a time, where I would watch out for that. So with this, you've got the World card, which represents older people. You've got the King of Swords. So King of Swords is usually an air sign male, Aquarius, Gemini, Libra. And then you've got the Three of Wands. So one way this potentially shows up for you, this literally for a lot of you, I think, is about travel plans. Some of you are needing to change or to adapt them. For others, it does suggest that you might be having a moment where you kind of, I don't know. I think for some of you, this might be a moment where you realize, okay, in order for me to go to a next level with something, I am going to have to release or let go of the belief system that brought me to this point. It's kind of like something's brought you this far, but it will take you no further. All right. It's a moment of pure honesty, I believe. Now, let's have a look at your moons, right? Your lunations. So I'm just going to pop these out of the way. So on the 12th of the month, we have the new moon in Sagittarius, which for you is in that ninth house, right? And so your new moon message is... the gate 13 and listen. So you are being asked to listen to your inner self, right? To listen to your own inner guidance. And really, I guess that new moon is trying to show you where it is that maybe your intuition is actually trying to get a message to you. And rather than sort of trusting it and going with whatever the message sort of is, sorry, I'm just trying to get the camera to focus. Maybe rather than sort of trusting your intuition to show you or to reveal to you what is there, it's almost like you're kind of ignoring it. Another way this also shows up as well, this is some part of your faith, your belief, or your spirit is trying to get a message to you, and you're being urged to take it on board, to listen to what the universe, God, whatever you call it or perceive to be out there, is trying to sort of share with you. All right. So that's your new moon message. And then your full moon, which is in the sign of Cancer, you have the gate 38 and fighter. It's probably one of my favorite cards in all of my decks. The message behind this card is the lotus flower, right? It's about finding the depth and the courage within yourself to go beyond what you think is possible. That full moon for you is happening in your fourth house, right? So this basically says whatever shows up for you around this full moon, you've got to trust that you have the guts, the grit, the power, the energy, the training, just through living the life that you've had, the training that you need in order to handle whatever comes up for you around that full moon, right? Especially when it comes to home, family, property, real estate, or even your deep emotional self and outlook. All right. With that said, I wish you an abundance of all of that good stuff. Whatever you do or don't celebrate, I really hope you have a wonderful holiday season, whether it's Yule, Kwanzaa, Hanukkah, or Christmas, or anything else that I'm not aware of at this time. I truly hope you have a wonderful time. Thank you so much for all of your support, from my heart to yours, throughout all of 2023. For those of you that have been with me longer, it really does mean a lot. I wish you an abundance of all of that good stuff. Take care of yourselves, and I'll see you in the new year.